Remember me? This is Heather, the 20-minute stitcher, and you have stumbled upon my channel that has been collecting dust for a little while. So yeah, new floss tube. Who dis? I'm Heather. My pronouns are she, her. This is the 20-minute stitcher, my corner of the internet where I talk about my hobby of cross stitch. And this is my episode 66. Did I say that? This is episode 66. I'm clearly rusty. This is my first video since November 9th of 2024. Today is December 30th of 2024. Whole host of reasons why I didn't post between now and then. Yeah, but I'm back. Thank you for those of you who reached out on Instagram, kind of knocking on the door, making sure that I was still alive, because I kind of fell off everything. Part of that is I haven't been doing a lot of stitching. So November was a very busy month. I stitched a little bit, but not a whole lot. And December started strong. I was doing, for the second year, the Evertote Roxy Floss Co. Modern Folk Embroidery Advent Stitch Along. I was keeping up every single day until I had sort of a big work retreat mid-December, and then it sort of all fell apart. And I have stitched exactly one day in the last 10 or 12 days. So a whole host of reasons, but which I'll get into a little bit, but I'm back. This video, because it's been so long since I filmed and I sort of have progress on things, but not a lot, I decided today is just going to be sharing one finish that I had in November. And then I'm going to talk about my 2025 plans. So if you are new to my channel, welcome. I typically post once a month. We'll see what 2025 brings. I might move back to an every other week schedule. We're just going to kind of see. Yeah, let's get into it. So as I said, I have one finish that I wanted to share. So this is Alphabet Cat's JBW Designs. I did the Kitten, which is this one here in the black trim. And I stitched this on, did I stitch this on? This is just sort of like, I think the last piece of a random piece of just kind of rose-ish Lugana that I've had in my stash for ages. And there she is. So I stitched this 2/2 with 2 strands of Classic Colorworks. Let me take it out of mine. I store my fancy flosses in floss away bags, so let me just take it out of here. I stitched this in Classic Colorworks Calico Kitty, which is appropriate. I do own 2 calico cats, one long-haired sort of traditional calico white and very bright sort of orange and black and brown colors, and then one diluted calico whose coloring is sort of more like this. So there she is. Alphabet Kitten, or Alphabet Cat Kitten. That is, I'm pretty sure, the only finish I have had between November 9th when I filmed my last video and today. So I just wanted to share that finish with you. And then I do want to share with you, even though it is not done, my progress so far on the Modern Folk Embroidery Advent Stitch Along. So if you are not familiar with this, it is a collaboration each year between Modern Folk Embroidery, Evertote, and Roxy Floss Co. They spend, to my understanding, pretty much an entire year. Jacob designs the chart, then works with Evertote and Roxy Floss Co. on color dyes and fabric dye and sort of putting the whole kit together. It is always stunning in terms of the chart itself, but also the colors. So these are the colors. I don't think I'm going to be able to get them fanned out enough for you to see all of them, but they are gorgeous, gorgeous colors as always this year, just like last year. And like I said, I am through day like 9.5. And then it sort of all fell apart. So, but I wanted to show sort of where I'm at right now. Plenty of people have already finished it. It ended on the 25th. So if you want to see the finished chart, please go to Instagram or Facebook, your favorite sort of social media spot for checking it. People are probably showing it on their floss tubes already too, but here is where I am. So I have, like I said, a little less than half done, but I mean, these charts are gorgeous. Like I said, last year was my first year participating in this, and I enjoyed it. I did stay on track, and I did finish it on the 25th last year, but it was literally the only thing I stitched on in December of last year. And so I had said that I wasn't going to do it again this year because of that, sort of making it be the only thing that I could work on. But then I saw that the theme for this year was a Nordic Christmas. And even though, to my knowledge, I have not one drop of Nordic ancestry in my heritage, I just love the designs and so I had to do it. So here is where my progress is so far. I don't know why I can't see. I'm rusty. I can't hold it straight for people to see. There we go. All right, that is all the stitching I have to show for today. If that is all you care about and you don't care about my plans, thanks for spending a few short minutes with me. I am excited to be back and hope to be back more regularly in the future. But if you want to hear my 2025 plans, stick around. So let's go ahead and quickly get into those. So before I do that, though, I do have a couple of little pieces of acquisition that I wanted to share as well. Sorry for the crinkling. So as I mentioned, I stitched in November. We took a family vacation to Disney in November. And one of my favorite things to do is get enamel pins and then take the backs off of them and turn them into needle minders. So I got these two pins at Disney. So R2-D2, short version of the story. I have been obsessed with R2-D2 since I was a little girl and first saw Star Wars, Return of the Jedi. Yeah, Return of the Jedi I think was my first one in the theaters because Star Wars A New Hope, I was like a year old. I don't think my parents took me to see Star Wars A New Hope. But I think Return of the Jedi I did see in the theaters. I know Empire Strikes Back I saw in the theaters. Either way, I was obsessed with R2-D2. I had a pool floaty that I named R2-D2. Loved R2-D2. So when I saw there are actually two droids on this pack, and I bought it just for R2-D2, and then I traded for Max, the horse from Tangled, who is fabulous. And so I'm going to turn both of these guys into needle minders. And then I also got from my friend Christina Stitchy Symphony this deviled egg needle minder, which is absolutely ridiculous and fabulous and harkens back to Stitch North this year and the great deviled egg fiasco of 2024, which is a fabulous story. And so Christina found these and made these for all of us who were at Stitch North, and it's too funny. Okay, so those are my only acquisitions. Like I said, I haven't been stitching much, so I haven't been acquiring much. So let's get into things. My 2025 plans needs to start with a brief recap of my 2024 plans. Those of you who are regular viewers know them, know how sort of insane they were. So at the end of 2023, I was getting my Notion template set up. I was putting all my charts and patterns that I owned into it, and I was getting excited about all the patterns that I had and all the patterns I wanted to stitch, and noticing how many patterns I owned that I hadn't started yet, how many patterns I owned that I hadn't started yet that were small. And so I had what at the time I acknowledged was probably a crazy idea, to create 3 WIPGO boards this year. One, a traditional WIPGO where I would work on a work in progress, something I had already started and wasn't finished yet. One that I was calling my SAFGO board, SAF standing for start and finish, meaning I put a bunch of my smalls on that board. And when those numbers were called, my goal was to both start and finish that small project during the month that it was called. And then I had a hashtag 24 starts in 2024 board where I took bigger projects that I hadn't started yet, put them on the board, and when they were called, my goal was to start them and put at least 300 stitches into them. So it all seemed reasonable in retrospect. 300 stitches on my WIPGO projects, 300 stitches on my 2 new starts. So that's 1,200 stitches in a month plus the 2 smalls, which varied, obviously, right? So, but it was on average less than 3,000 stitches a month, and that seemed manageable. And it was. I actually kept up with it kind of all the way through August, September-ish. Except with the exception of, actually through October, with the exception of one project that went in timeout because I made a big mess up on it and had to frog like 150 stitches. Actually, I think it was more than that. And then kind of towards the end of the fall, it kind of all just fell apart. I wasn't motivated to stitch on my projects. I think, in all honesty, what it was, without going into too much detail, we had an incredibly busy fall in this family with marching band. My daughter was drum major. She was finishing her Eagle Scout project. I had all these things going on at work. I had all my stitching stuff going on. And I think while all of it was going on, weirdly enough, it was easy to keep up with all of it because busy is as busy does, right? And then when marching band ended, when my daughter finished her Eagle Scout project, turned 18, we weren't as busy. And I think then just sort of everything fell off and my body was like, we can breathe and relax and rest. And I sort of lost my motivation for stitching and a lot of other stuff too. So all that to say, my 2024 projects were overly ambitious. I now have, I don't even know how many WIPs, but I can find out. So I have a lot of WIPs, and I think that I started to get a little overwhelmed. So I am not, so according to my Notion, I have 68 works in progress right now. And I'm not a person who freaks out at having a bunch of WIPs. I'm not, that doesn't bother me. But because I wanted to achieve the goals I set on my boards for 2024, which I let go of in October, November-ish, and through the rest of the year, I wasn't working on any of my other projects. So, I went from having, 30-ish WIPs, between 25 and 30 WIPs, to having 68. And I kind of burned myself out on stitching, I think, by setting myself too many goals. So 2025 is the year of the WIP. It is the year of still setting goals for myself, but being gentler with those goals. So I'm not prohibiting myself from new starts, but I want to work on the projects that I already have. I have so many of them that I absolutely love, and I really want to see finished. I mean, I am largely a process stitcher. I enjoy the process of stitching, but I like to have finishes too. So while I am not the type of person who can stitch on one thing until it's done, I do like to finish things. So 2025 is the year of the WIP, and I am doing a couple of things to help myself achieve that. So with that 2024 background, here's 2025. So I am going to do a WIPGO board in 2025, but I'm doing it a little bit differently this year. Rather than choosing specific projects to work on, I am choosing, sorry, I'm trying to figure out why I can't, whatever. I was trying to get my sidebar to go away and it's not, whatever, it's fine. I have chosen, I don't even know if you can see this, depends on how big your TV is maybe. Let me see if I can make it a little bigger, guess not. Let me do it this way. I have chosen instead to put on my WIPGO board prompts. So I came up with, I think, 6 different prompts, and I used my tiny decisions wheel to randomize sort of what prompt went in which number. And then when the month is called, I can then go to that prompt and then choose sort of what I feel like working on that month. So in case you can't read the screen, my prompts were a project I think I can finish, my oldest WIP, which right now is my Magic Kingdom Stitch Along from Cunning Cross Stitch. I have a seasonal stitch, so that will let me choose whatever I feel like seasonal. So I can stitch something that's fall, winter, Christmas, Halloween, summer, kind of whatever is in the mood. Then I have Stitch on a Sal. I have so many Sals that I've started and not finished, so I can choose the Sal that's calling to me and work on that. Next prompt is Dragon. I have so many dragon charts started and not finished, so that will let me choose one. I have, I think, at least 6 different dragon charts. So that will let me choose one that I feel like working on and work on it. I have a Quaker. lots of Quakers running right now, or lots of pieces with Quaker motifs in them. So I'll interpret that a little loosely, that I can work on. And then my last prompt was a monochromatic piece. Again, I've got 5 or 6 monochromatic pieces on the go. I'm also letting myself put in that category pieces that were designed to be monochromatic, but that I have added colors to. So for instance, Enchanted Quaker by Luminous Fiber Arts. She charted it as a single color monochromatic piece. I chose to use 2 colors. So if I feel like called to that one, I'm letting that fall in the monochromatic as well. But even outside of that, I have, I think, 3 or 4 true monochromatic works in progress on the go right now. So that is my WIPGO board for 2025. And my goal is 5 days or 500 stitches. Very simple, very kind of let me choose what I am called to stitch rather than sort of having to stitch a project that I put on the board that maybe when it gets called, I'm not feeling called to it. So that is my WIPGO board for 2025. And then the last piece of my 2025 plans is, because it is the year of the WIP, I did decide to give the WIP Warriors group on Facebook a try in 2025. I have seen lots of stitchers like Laura, Stitching by the Shore, Candy, the 614 Stitcher, talk about their WIP Warriors progress. We'll see how I go. You do have to sort of post photos in the Facebook group and things like that. And I'm not the best at social media, if those of you who follow me on Instagram can attest. So we'll see. But I am excited by it because, again, I like the game aspect of it, like categories and scavenger hunt and things like that. And it's focused on making progress on your WIPs. But again, I can sort of choose what calls to me. So I can take a categories prompt and I can get creative with, what I feel like working on. Can I shoehorn it in to one of the prompts? So I'm kind of excited about the creativity aspect of the games that are played in WIP Warriors as well. So I got myself all excited. I did purchase my WIP Warriors cross stitch diary. Even though I will continue to use my Notion, I feel like having this handy kind of with my stitching bag might be really helpful. So it does not come spiral bound. It does come regular bound. But I took it to my local Office Max for like $6.50. They cut the binding off, spiral bound it for me, which will be great because then I can just literally have it open to, sort of the page for the project or the week that I'm working on. And if you've not seen this yet, it's pretty cool. I won't go into a whole WIP Warriors sort of overview, in part because I'm new and I'm still learning it myself. If that's something that's of interest to you, though, let me know in the comments. And, maybe as I figure things out, if it's something you've been thinking about joining but aren't sure, maybe I can kind of give a quick little overview of it. But a few things that it does have in there. So one of the sort of levels of participation that you can choose is 25 and 25, which is basically you sort of pick 25 WIPs that are going to be what you work on in 2025. I did not choose that level. I chose the stitch what you want when you want. So that allows me to have new starts if I feel like it. And I can work on more than 25 projects in a year if I choose to do so. But the journal does have a page, or the planner does have a page for people who are participating at that level to write in the 25 WIPs that they're working on. I'm contemplating setting myself maybe the goal of, could I maybe finish 25 projects in 2025? So I think as I finish things, I'm gonna like scratch out WIPs and put finishes. And maybe I'll track my finishes here. But they do also have a page for WIPGO. So I do have my WIPGO board in here already as well. And you'll see Jesse's already called the numbers for January. So it was number 20 and number 11. So I will be working on my oldest WIP, which again, as I said, was the Magic Kingdom Stitch Along by Kitten Cross Stitch. And number 20 is a project I think I can finish. So I'll have to look through my WIPs a little bit and see what I think I can finish. So they're pretty simple plans in 2025. I am, sort of making 2025 a gentler year in my stitching life, a year with a little less sort of demands, I guess. So yeah, thanks to those of you who reached out and asked, wanted to know what my plans were for 2025. So simpler. And I think the nice thing is that will give me some room to maybe do some new things, some new ideas as they come up. And one thought I did have was, if one of my WIPs is the same as one of yours, maybe we should bring back the WIP down, Sal. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to do. And I suppose it doesn't have to be the same WIPs, but it would be kind of fun to maybe have a, I don't know, a WIP down Sal that is a specific project maybe that some of us are all working on. Let me know in the comments if that's an idea. I also would love to know what your plans are for 2025. I really appreciate those of you who commented, excuse me, on my last video when I asked for sort of ideas for sort of softer topics or softer prompts for my WIPGO board. I definitely incorporated a couple of those in. So there was a couple of you who commented and said, yeah, I do the same thing. Rather than a specific piece, I have a prompt. So thanks for some of those prompts. Definitely incorporated those in. So a bit of a shorter video today, a little light on the stitching content, but wanted to share my plans for 2025, get myself back in the swing of floss tube, and excited for what 2025 holds for all of us. Thank you for watching through all of my rambling today. If you are still here, I appreciate that. Would love to hear from you. As I said, would love to hear from you in the comments. I do reply to every comment. Sometimes a little slow about it, but I do get to them all. I do read them all, and I do appreciate all of the time that you spend watching my videos and being part of my little stitchy community. I know all of us have busy lives, and time is precious, and I am always grateful for the time you choose to spend with me. As I said at the beginning of the video, today is December 30th. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve. I want to wish all of you a very, very happy end to your new year. I hope that 2025 will be a gentle and joyous year for you. And I hope that you will continue to visit with me in my little corner of YouTube. Thanks for watching, and as I always end my videos, hug your loved ones, take care of yourself, and happy stitching. I will see you in 2025. Bye.